I literally been on YouTube for exactly 10 days today. And I'm already getting talked about on here. You know, I had a viral video that struck a nerve with a lot of people, that even still getting traction as I'm making this video. And if you haven't checked out the video, be sure to go check it out. It's called "Prepared Preparing to Be Homeless and Stepping into My Truth." It goes into detail about, me tired of working for corporate companies, right? And standing on truth as far as me carving a different path in my life, regardless of if I'm gonna be homeless or not. And so I say that because it's a guy on here named Money Memphis 2.0, that is a working man, right? That was pretty much talking. I had checked out one of his videos, and he was talking about, modern men, not wanting to work, and them being homeless, and not taking care of their responsibilities to keep a roof over their head, keep food and shelter over their head. I mean, keep food and shelter in their mouth. I mean, food in their mouth and shelter, the basic necessities, right? And so, it hit a nerve with a lot of people. A lot of people was disturbed by what I said, and that's what made it go viral because, when you talk about something like this, not expecting what the traction that it got, you end up ruffling some feathers with a lot of people. And so, yeah, the guy, because I don't know how to do the YouTube as far as like editing and doing reaction videos. I don't know how to do all that, right? So I guess he was going around, picking videos apart about black men and just exposing them not wanting to work. And I sat and pondered on it, thought about it, and I wanted to instantly get upset about what the man is saying, but as I thought about it, I'm like, what would I be upset about? There's nothing to be upset about what he's saying because he's part of the systematic system that's been in place for multiple decades, and he doesn't know any better, right? He's still a king. I'm not gonna discredit him because he made a reaction video on what I said. So it's just funny, again, that me making that particular topic of my video caused a lot of traction, and even like I said, and it lets me know that it's a serious problem with this planet, right? Because the powers that be put all this shit in place, and because they put all this shit in place, they're not, I'm gonna say they're making, but they created such a thing to where us humans rely on those things that we think is permanent, and it's not. And so, this man in this video stated the case as to, why, these things that's put in place are beneficial to us. You know what I'm saying? And respectfully, I just don't see it that way. All right. And we as a people has formed a way of saying, oh well, if you don't do what I want you to do, or me criticizing, what's the word I'm trying to use? Yeah, basically, if you don't do as you're supposed to be told, or the powers that be to put this stuff out in place, then you become lazy, or you don't want to do anything with yourself in life, right? And that's far from the truth. But people, for whatever reason, stand behind someone, when they say these things, right? And before you know it, it gets some traction, and a lot of people just, basically without even thinking, without even using their brains, just go along with what a person's saying, right? And so when I make my videos simply to wake people up to really realize what's really happening. It's not to sit here and say, well, I'm trying to have you side with me and say, hey, come on over here on this side and join me and what agenda I'm trying to push out, because this is what I'm trying to push on people. Although it's not happening, I'm just pushing it on folks. No, that's not it at all. Again, the problem is that people will see the absolute truth directly in their faces, and they will find every reason to deflect. But instead, they will give in. They would say, damn, I ain't got a job, man. I ain't got this, I ain't got that. Fuck it, I just need to just go ahead and do this and do that, right? Even if it's for a short time, I just need to do this. Because if I don't have that, I'm not shit. I'm not a man, I'm not anybody, because I don't have these things. And people, like I said, go with the trend. It becomes a recurring thing that you hear people say. Like as of now, like as I'm speaking to you and making this video, I don't have a damn job. I don't have a direction as far as where I know where I want to go, but I don't have a direction as far as going back into the corporate world, right? I love to work, but just not for the man, right? So it's hard for people to really understand and realize that this is not a hard thing to do, right? It just seems hard to people because, for the simple fact that they attach themselves with this stuff that's been systematically put out here for us to rely on. And so because we rely on this heavily and so much that we defend it. And we defend it to the death without even waking up, without even realizing what's really happening, man. So again, for no fault of his own, right? Because he doesn't know any better, right? Doesn't know any better at all. And he just speaking coming from his experience and the things that he'd been through, and him not wanting to come to a realization that these corporate jobs can give a fuck about you no matter how much time you put in, right? They just don't give a fuck about you. And see, for me, money doesn't buy me happiness. I don't need to have money. Like right now as we speak, I'm not making no damn money, right? But again, I'm not a person that's super duper bothered by it like other people. Like the money is the center of your damn world, and you feel like if you don't got no money in your pocket, you can't get this and you can't get that, or you can't be at this place and you can't be at that place. Fuck being at all these places, man. Fuck being in all these places. What I want is community. What I want is people to wake up, to realize what's really happening out here, and to realize that this is all bullshit. And if they decide to link up with me or like-minded people, then do so, right? I'm not pushing nothing up on anybody, right? I'm just simply putting it out there to let people know that this is what's happening. I'm not telling you not to conform, right? When you wake up and realize what's really happening, and not all of us going to do this, you're going to really realize and say, damn, wait, this shit really is fucked up. Like, damn, like, I'm doing all this for what? Like, what am I chasing, right? You get the house, you get the cars, you have a family, whatever, right? And so you feel like that brings you to some degree happiness. But what about what goes on inside you as an individual, right? Instead of what someone puts in front of you and just dazzle it in your eyes and say, oh man, you can achieve this and you can achieve that, and you just go ahead and do it without even thinking. That's not me at all, right? And the moment that I hear about people saying this, telling me this, right? This is something I wrestle with myself with these companies, because these companies have been feeding me lies, right? Just like the powers that be put it in place and fed me bullshit. And because they fed me bullshit, and I really woke up and realized that shit, I just get irritated over and over again, because for the simple fact that this is by design. It's by design. And when folks work from way back before we was even in existence, well, no, I wouldn't say in existence. We have been in existence, but we talk about the caveman times, right? They worked, right? But they worked for a compensation for what they worked for, but it wasn't had to do with the form of money, right? They did something with purpose. They did something for themselves. And when they did it, it wasn't them by themselves. It was community. It was community. Nobody disturbed them. They lived there. I mean, I don't know. I can't really say that they lived their life, because I wasn't back there. But the way that when I look at pictures and I see how they were, like, it was always community. It wasn't never just one person just doing everything on their own, right? Because it wasn't designed that way. But somewhere along down the line, the powers that be figure this shit out and figure, let's put it down. I mean, other humans figure this shit out for other humans to really say, hey, man, these people are not that bright. Let's go ahead and put a system in place that we don't know what's going to really happen to it. We're going to see if it's going to stick, and let's see who latches onto it, right? And it's no end in sight, but we want to have these people trading their time for multiple hours of labor, right? And there's no end in sight, because we want to trade in their precious time. We want to line our pockets up. We want to get rich. We want to be only a small group of people that benefits off their labor, right? We're going to do that in the form of putting something in place to make them feel like they're winning, right? But all the while, that they're lining our pockets up for our benefit, and we can care less about their health. We can give a damn about what goes on with their families and everything else, right? We wanted them here. Whatever we create and whatever we decide to put in place, we just want them here, and their blood, sweat, and tears, right, into these companies, right? Like I said, we can give a fuck about it, but we want to make sure that that it's all in place to make sure that we benefit, and no one else will know, but we're going to do this. And fast forward to this current time, even back then when I was a kid, I felt like something was wrong even back then. But fast forward to these times, is that it's just in fruition. With the cost of living and inflation and price of food that's killing us, that people don't know how to use their brains, even include myself, right? Because I've been so damn hoodwinked into believing this shit that that our creative minds, we can build. We can fend for ourselves, but because of the powers that be and the stuff they put in place, it made us all docile. It made us be limited on what we can do. It stifled us in a major way, to where we can't even see it for ourselves. And so, going back to the Money Man Myth 2.0. Hey, King, it is what it is. You do what you got to do. I'm not even upset at you, But, I appreciate you for mentioning me, right? Because this needed to get noticed. This needed to get out there. And, although you may feel the way you feel, I know there's other people that feel like I do, for no pressure of their own. They do. And, you're probably not going to stop what you're doing, right? You're a man. You do what you need to do, right? As far as the type of content you put out. But as for me, right, regardless of what people feel, I'm standing on my truth. And I mean that shit for the bottom of my heart. And I don't care what people think. You know, I'm still gonna keep getting these negative addresses from people. But hey, it's needed. It's needed to wake people up, right? It's needed to wake people up. And eventually it's gonna come a time where people are not gonna have any choice but to really see um, what's really happening out here. Because it's not gonna be like a shield, or like a some type of cover to cover their eyes. It's not going to be a lot of that bullshit no more. It's going to be something that's going to force their eyes to see something they don't want to see, right? Because people are in times where whatever's on the surface makes them comfortable. They don't want to dig in, they don't want to dig down deep to find out the layers of what's really truly happening. So again, thank you, man. I appreciate it. You know, you had did me a major service by putting me out there after only being on YouTube for 10 days. And so this doesn't stop, you know, what I want to continue to keep putting out, because I'm going to keep putting it out. And I'm going to make sure that as long as I got a breath to breathe, people are going to know this. They're going to know what's happening. Even if they can't see it right now, they're going to see it. They're going to know what's happening. So with that being said, y'all like, comment, share, subscribe. You know, just if you can, just get the message out there to other people, man. You know, let them know about this video. Maybe something that I said in the video will resonate with them internally and deeply. And to spread the awareness, because the awareness is what's needed. So I appreciate you all, you know, on my short time here on YouTube. And with that being said, I'll holler at y'all in the next video.